Hi YouTubers and welcome back to my channel. In this video I'm going to be testing a tyre repair kit to see how it performs and whether it keeps the tyre inflated. Whilst driving recently I had a message appear on the car explaining that the tyre pressure was low on one of the wheels. I'm assuming this is because I've got a nail or a screw or something in the wheel. So this tyre repair kit is designed as a temporary repair, so if you were out and about and the tyre was low, that you can repair the tyre, get it inflated, and then obviously later on take it to a garage and get it professionally repaired or replaced if they can't repair it. So let's take a look at the product and see what's included. Inside the packet there's a T-handle reamer tool, T-handle plugger tool, tube of plug bond and 5 black tyre strings. This kit was £7.96 on Amazon when I bought it. I've put a link in the description in case you want to buy it. The back of the pack shows 6 basic steps and reiterates that this should not be used as a permanent tyre repair and you should wear goggles when repairing the tyre. If you're repairing a front tyre, you could probably do this without taking the wheel off the car. However, with this being the rear wheel, I'm assuming that it might be difficult to pierce the tyre with the reamer tool, so I'm going to take it off. I didn't need to look far to find the issue. You can see the screw here in the middle. It's also put a slight bulge in the side of the tread wall. With it being a screw, I might as well try unscrewing it out of the tyre. Now the instructions on the back of this kit are brief at best. I think you need to let some of the pressure out of the tyre before you stab the filing tool into the hole to prepare it for the plug. So that's what I'm going to do. The head is sharp because it has been partially worn down on the road. It was making a good seal whilst it was in. Suppose there was no point me letting the tyre down beforehand. The first step is to insert the reamer tool, which ensures the hole is not obstructed. The tyre will likely have some form of reinforcing material encased in the rubber like steel or nylon, so this reamer tool will make sure that the hole is ready for the plug string. As you can see here, it's quite hard to insert. It needs to go all the way through, and I'd recommend plunging it in and out a few times. Next, you need to get one of the tyre plug strings from between the plastic sheets. This stuff is really tacky, so probably would have been better for me to use gloves. Now, thread the string through the plugger tool like so. Next, I need to cover the string in the plug bond. This will help lube it so it is easier to insert, then bond it to the rubber to seal the hole once inserted. When inserting the plug, it needs to go all the way through. I'm working towards the assumption that 3/4 of the folded plug will be inserted, leaving a quarter sticking out of the tyre. Once through the tyre, the resistance eases off a little, so you should be able to tell once you're through. Then simply get a good grip on the handle and the tyre and pull out. There's a little gap in the plugger tool that releases the string once the plugger is pulled out. You can see some plug residue and tyre bond has been left on the plugger tool, so I'm going to wipe that off now. It doesn't say on the instructions that you should leave this to set, so I'm going to try inflating it now to see if it has worked. This tyre inflator I'm using is okay, I've had my use out of it over the years, however I think the piston pump is probably worn and not as efficient as it once was. I've started the car to increase the voltage to speed up the pump. I've just cut the ends of the tyre plug. I don't recommend doing this just yet, you'll see why in a minute. The pressure dropping is down to the pump, not the plugged hole that I've just repaired, so I'm going to set it going again. Now there's a little bulge in the tread line with the hole being so close to the edge, however this isn't anything to worry about. The repair is in the tyre bed under the usable rubber tread on top. To test the success of the repair, I'm going to use water with a generous squirt of fairy washing up liquid. You can see here it is bubbling. My first attempt obviously hasn't fully sealed the hole. It doesn't appear to be self-sealing now the tyre is pressurised. I've cut the ends down further to see if I can see where it is leaking from, however it hasn't really helped. This is why I shouldn't have cut off the plug ends prematurely. I might have been able to pull it out if I had more to grip. Although in saying that, it is breaking away when I pull on it, so maybe it isn't possible to pull them out if you need to try again. I'm going to use the reamer tool again. I fully expect this to push the existing tyre plug all the way through into the inside of the wheel. I've not released any pressure from the tyre this time, so let's see what happens when you do it with a fully inflated tyre. Make sure to wear eye protection on the off chance something shoots out of the hole. At first I thought that had sealed it, however you can still hear it popping, so best to insert a new one. You can tell now the tyre plug is no longer plugging the hole. I've threaded the tyre string through the plugger tool again and coated it in a generous amount of the plug bond. Try not to twist the plugger tool when you insert it. So far so good with this one. Considering the tyre was still partially pressurised, it doesn't appear to be bubbling around the rim. This time I'm cutting most of the excess off with a Stanley knife blade. And now for the soapy water test. No bubbles at all. The slight movement is down to the bubbles popping instead of air seeping out of the plugged hole. It was at about 22 psi when I plugged it, so I'll bring it back up to the 40 psi recommended for this vehicle and tyre combination. Switching the car on again to speed up inflation. The pump on this little inflator is getting warm, so it's likely air going into the tyre will also be warmer than ambient. As we all know that warm air expands, it's likely the pressure inside the tyre will drop a few degrees once it cools down. I'm assuming this immediate drop in pressure once the inflator cuts off is just because it is old and worn. I don't remember it doing this when I first bought it. That will do for now. One final soapy water test at full pressure to see if there are any leaks. Nothing. It looks to be holding strong, so I'll now put it back onto the car. I'm first nipping up the bolts before lowering and torquing to spec. Remember on a 5-lug wheel to tighten them in sequence: 1, 3, 5, 2, then 4. The torque setting for the BMW X5 is 140 Newton meters or 103 pound-foot. Finally, let's check what pressure it's reading in the vehicle status section. 40 psi, the same as what I had set on the inflator.
One eternity later.
It's now been a couple of weeks since I repaired the tyre, so let's check the pressure to see how it's holding up. Still 40 psi, it hasn't dropped one bit. To conclude, I think this is a really good bit of kit. Yes, my first attempt didn't fully seal, and I'm still not sure why, but the second attempt worked perfectly, and considering you get 5 tyre plugs in the kit, I think it's also really good value for money. Some comments I've seen mention tyre plugs start to leak when it gets cold, or they could let moisture into the tyre. However, I think these comments might be referring to the mushroom-shaped plug kits. This slime kit comes with Tyre Bond, which should create a more permanent seal to the rubber surrounding the hole. There's plenty of comments online of people saying these slime plugs have outdated the usable life of the tyre. Either way, I think this is a really useful thing to have in the car. Aside from a tyre inflator and means to take the wheel off the car, this kit comes with everything you need to fix a slow leak, until you have time to get the hole patched professionally. Well guys, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Subscribing's free and it just means any future videos I release will automatically appear on your feed without you having to search for them. Thanks again for watching and I'll see you on the next video.